Oh shit. Time for aeronautical violence. Okay, welcome. As you can see, today we're going to be talking about sticks. You may insert your dick jokes here. First things first though, the bourbon we're going to be drinking today is Oak and Eden 4-grain and coffee. It was made specifically for me by my girlfriend. She bought it for me and well, had it finished for me for Christmas. So thank you, babe. This one goes out to you. Cheers. It's a 4-grain and with oak and coffee. It's delicious. It's quite good. So, I mean, she had it bottled specifically for me, but we could go out and just request the same exact thing, I suppose. There's nothing stopping you from doing that, but you can't get this bottle. It's mine. Anyway, cheers. It's been a while, guys. All right, so the sticks we're going to be covering today. Thrustmaster Warthog, a RealSim F16 grip, Tianhang, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Tianhang grip, and the venerable VKB Modern Combat Pro Ultimate. I think Ultimate Supreme Mega Megalodon Ultra Kill 3000. So, I don't have winwing, so sorry, deal with it. Though my buddy Dan, who I fly with all the time, he's in two of my videos. He has winwing and he swears by it. He thinks it's great, but I simply don't have one. Just wasn't in the cards for me. So, why do I have 4 sticks? Why are you breathing my air? You wouldn't get it. Anyway, so real quick, what I want to cover is the real stick positions in the real jet. The A10 stick is straight up and down, and it's actually canted, I think, oh God, 15 degrees maybe off in the position, because your natural hand position's like this, not like this. So there's that, but then the F16 grip, you can see, these are both F16 grips. The F16 grip is canted 13 degrees forward, because I don't know why. I mean, someone with a lot more education than me figured out that that's the correct ergonomic position. So I'm bringing this up because whether or not you're going to have the stick in a center stick position or a side stick position is going to matter whether or not you would get something that's straight or get straight that has an adapter or what have you. And as far as canting it off the twist, I'm going to get to that in a second because there's a trick to each one. So what they're going to be mounted on, I'll get to that in the conclusion, I think, but real quick and dirty, this is going to be my center stick, and this is going to be my side stick, and this is probably going to go back to collecting dust. This is actually my second Thrustmaster Warthog. I sold my first one, excuse me, and then I needed another one for its control board, so I bought this off eBay like a month ago, and like, I don't know, you can get them pretty cheap nowadays. Please don't buy it brand new. You can get them way cheaper used. So, let's get to the meat and potatoes of it. God, this is fantastic bourbon. I love it so much. All right. First things first, the Thrustmaster, the gold standard. You know it, you love it. Back in 2010, this was pretty much the end-all, be-all, best stick you could possibly get. There was nothing better than this. The fact that it was metal alone, like all metal, was incredible, and people just went nuts for it. That being said, it's pretty fucking shit, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been severely outclassed in almost every single way that counts. First things first. So like I said, this is my second Thrustmaster stick. The one thing that bothered me about my old one is the CMS Z axis, which in a Viper, there is no CMS Z axis, but in the A10 there is. Pushing down on it, unless you push it completely perfectly down without any kind of movement, it will not actuate the CMS Z axis. And I thought maybe that was a quirk with my first stick. But I got this one, and it does it too. So it's clearly not a thing with my first stick. It's with all the Thrustmaster sticks. So the CMS Z depress is really weird, and the buttons are just really, you can't even hear them. They're not very clicky. Now, the trigger, I will say, I do actually kind of like the trigger. It's not bad. But that's about pretty much all the nice things I can say about it. And the allure of the, it's metal, that wears off really fucking fast when you know it's just a cheap zinc alloy metal. It's not like steel. It's actually, this metal is easier to break than the resin the RealSim's made of, if you can believe that, which is kind of hard to believe, but it's true. Mounting it sucks too. These mounting solutions really crappy, and if you try and mount this on the base of a RealSim force sensing stick base, you're gonna have a bad time. It's gonna be rattly and not super great. It's just not a great system for doing it. I don't have anything else to say about it, honestly. That's pretty much it. So next up, we have the RealSim, which, God, it's so light. The RealSim stick, brand new, is gonna set you back about 400 bucks. I got this for $350 used off of my friend Jackson, who graciously traded for it to sell it to me because he knew I was looking for one and he wanted the money to buy something else. So everyone was happy. We all won in the end. It's made of a resin of some kind, as I understand it. The mounting down here at the bottom is similar to the Warthog. It's just a little more tightly manufactured. I still hate this mounting solution, but I guess Thrustmaster kind of set the bar with that weird 5-pin thing, but I've had trouble with it. I'm not sure if you can see here. I've actually broken the little plastic piece off in there, which fucking sucks, man. But, you know, I just gotta be really careful when I mount the stick onto things. But what this stick does have over the Thrustmaster that I really love is the switches are honestly just a fucking pleasure. They're very, very tactile, and they're a lot more clicky. And even more so, they turned a lot of things into 5-way hats that don't even need to be 5-way hats. Like, first off, it's got a CMSZ depress that the real F16 wouldn't have. Maybe you're using for an A10, okay, fair enough, but this is a 5-way hat, as well as being a pickle. This is a 5-way hat, which normally is just a click. This, the pinky switch, is a fucking 5-way. Can you move that button up like that? If you did, you probably dated a lot in high school, because that's a real goddamn to make work like that. But all in all, I would say it's a vast improvement over the Thrustmaster Warthog stick. If you're going to use this stick for some kind of universal cockpit because you fly a lot of modules, it's a great deal because you have these extra little clicks. Like, you could use this up and down to navigate the radio menu when you're in single player, or you can use the forward and backwards here for like an analog zoom in, zoom out, or radar cursor elevation because your wheel is sticky or your slew sucks because you're using a wing throttle, has a crappy slew. But, you know, I digress. Now, buckle in, because it's about to get good. This, the new player, the big dog, the new stick on the block. This is a Tianhang F16 stick. I'd never heard of Tianhang up before like a month ago. Tianhang, I guess, is just some dude in China, and I don't know what this guy did. I don't know if he took a RealSim stick and 3D scanned it, or if he got a real F16 stick, or what he did, but it's the same price as the RealSim stick, maybe even a little bit cheaper if you're buying it brand new. It comes in a beautiful Pelican case when you get it, which is a nice touch, but it's about as light, maybe a little bit heavier than the RealSim stick, but here's where this stick really fucking shines. These switches, do you hear that? These switches are downright fucking orgasmic. I could sit here doing this all night long. I can't. The buttons are very, very hard to press, which if you've got really strong hands is a good thing, because I do. I mean, I have all of my sensitivities and resistances in my VP Force Rhino set to the maximum resistance, because that's the way the real jet is. I've flown the real military A10 sim a handful of times. I've probably got like an hour or two total flight time in it, and let me tell you, the A10 stick, your arm will start to shake after a while holding it back without trim. It's a lot of force pressure, and as I understand it, I'll get to that in a second, as I understand it, the switches are like that too. Now, this trigger was okay. This one is better, a lot better actually. This one, check this out. It's like a staple gun, which I actually don't like that. I like the RealSim trigger the most, but apparently, according to my friend Jackson, that is the real mil-spec trigger. It feels like that. And same with these buttons. I'll get to that in a second. But how this man was able to replicate these switches and make it feel so realistic, I have no idea. I mean, the CIA is going to come and put a black bag over his head and make him disappear. So go buy one while you have the chance, because it's fucking incredible. I love this stick. And the good things don't end there. So remember how I was talking about the stupid mounting solution with these goddamn stupid plus signs? All right, so the VP Force Round, for example, has the plus sign. So you plug it in and the stick is stuck like that. You can't rotate it. If you want to have your stick rotated, you got to buy an adapter or an extension or something. Same with the RealSim one. It's really fucking stupid. And God fucking help you if you twist those little 5 pegs in there, you're gonna fuck up your whole mount. Now, Tianhang, in his infinite wisdom, what he did was, look at that. It's goddamn genius. So when you're mounting the thing, you plug it in, then you push the stick on, and like, oh well, David, what if it pops out? It's spring loaded. How did this dude think of that? Oh, my head's exploding with how just like, why didn't someone think of that before? This doesn't move around a lot like these do, and on top of that, it has a goddamn set screw to lock this in so it doesn't move. And if that wasn't enough, it also comes with nylon washers to act as spacers. If maybe you put this in and you screw it on and it's not tight enough, or it's still got a little wiggle because it's like metal against metal, and you know how hard it is to tighten down metal without damaging things, put a fucking nylon washer in there, man. Now, that's so freaking smart. Before I had this switch, I was using a, I found like a rubber pad, and I actually was cutting out rubber discs and poking holes in them, making little rubber donuts to stick up in here to do exactly what this stick does out of the box. So to say I'm quite enamored with Tianhang and his designs and his foresight and his thoughts process on this is to say nothing. As for that, well, you're probably going like, well, David, how do you know these are mil-spec switches? Well, I mentioned I bought this from my friend Jackson. Jackson happens to, that guy has forgotten more about HOTASs and sticks than I'll probably ever know. But he actually does. He has the parts numbers and sources he won't disclose and places he gets things. The CIA is going to throw a black bag over his head and make him disappear too, probably. But he has real mil-spec switches, and he actually took, I think it's a thrustmaster. He took a thrustmaster apart and fucked military switches into it and soldered them up because he's a fucking savant. I mean, I love you, bro. You're super cool, but like, dude, it's beyond me. And so he has the real mil-spec switches, and I'm like, hey, will you send me, because he has the Tianhang as well. He's like, hey, will you make me a video and compare the Tianhang switches to the military switches? And he did, and I'll post that video here. I got his permission to post it, so you'll get to see what that's like. But yeah, unbelievable.
Okay, so TMS, if I'm being honest, these two right here, these are 2 Mason switches. They're very clicky. I'm using an auto one right now. I can't have the Mason one because these are 2 rare. I have the real trim though. But these 2 were honestly, I mean, they're almost like thrustmaster switches. And these are clicky. So these are actually, you could say, better than the mil-spec ones. And of course, they're the 5-way. All the hats are the same. The trim's even the same. Well, no, I think the trim is a little more throw. Maybe it's just because of the bigger cap. It's a 5-way. CMS is very nice. If doing mil-spec switches upgrade, I would keep the stock CMS unless I had a real one, not the auto one right here. Here's those, real trim, buttons are the only thing left. Buttons for his. They're not mil-spec, but the paddle is heavier than the regular ones, and they sure are nice. The trigger, right here, the first click is grainy, second click is well spec. That's how it is with this.
Oh, one more thing to note. I'm pretty sure the real jets have metal sticks in them, or maybe it's some kind of carbon resin. I'm not sure, but these two both being plastic, I believe this is some kind of resin and therefore the strongest one. This is nylon. It feels really good though, and between all of them, and I'm not just being biased here, this one has the nicest texture, I think. If I can complain about anything, I guess the gritty texture on the gray is a little, I don't know. And if you look closely, you can see some 3D print lines, and I'm nitpicking here. This this stick is honestly just, I love it. I honestly fucking love it. So, last but certainly not least, ironically, the VKB Modern Combat Pro Ultimate Amazing Megalodon Superlative Overkill Megalodon. I said Megalodon already. This stick, ironically, I have the most hours on this. So back in the day when I sold my thrustmaster, I got a VKB because the thrustmaster gimbals in the base were plastic and pretty shit, honestly. And I was pretty enamored with the SU-35 at the time too. This is back in, God, 2018, 2019. And so I wanted a stick that was more universal, that I could have the most number of stuff on. As you can see, the form factor is quite similar to an A10 because you've got, you've got your, stay up. It's not gonna stay up. You've got a hat for trim. You've got, this would be the DMS, and you've got a TMS, and you've got a pickle, and 2 extra buttons, and then you've got your mastering node, but also that moves around. And then you've got the flip up for the, a lot of Russian jets have that, as well as the K-50, and the trigger. Actually, the trigger is probably my favorite trigger out of all of them. The trigger is awesome. 2-stage trigger as well. CMS, this is actually an axis for if you use the Russian wheel brakes. So I've actually flown the most with this stick, ironically, and it's got adjustable cant in the grip as well, so you can adjust it right out of the box. And I like the Cyrillic letterings, and that's actually why I still have this stick, because I can't bring myself to get rid of it, because it's just a work of art. I have no use for it. I'm never probably gonna fly with it. I'm never gonna fly with it ever again, but I just can't bring myself to sell it, because it's just such a great stick. Sentimental value, can't get rid of it. I'll frame it, put it on my wall or something like that. I don't fucking know. Oh, so one thing about this, the POV was weird, but this stick came with different hats, and you can actually take those little screws out and just like unplug it and plug new ones in, like line replaceable units. And so I took the POV hat, looked like that. I took the POV hat and I replaced it with actually a switch instead of a hat, and it works better that way. So, you know, there's that. So, my concluding thoughts here. If I could pick just one, by far, easy choice, mate. All day long, the Tianhang really takes the cake. The website's a little sketch. I'll post a link to it. It's gonna look like this dude's gonna definitely like take your money and you're never gonna hear from him again. But my friend Jackson ordered from them first, and he got his stick, and his friend got his stick, and I'm like, I'm good enough for me. I ordered and I got my stick. It took a week or two. It does come from China, but you know, it's the nature of the game these days, and I don't care where it comes from or who makes it. I just want the best, and this is probably the best stick. As far as extras go, these are also buttons. You can push these as buttons. So if you need like a button to maybe call up the radio menu for single player or something, or just an extra bind for something, you've got 3 extra buttons here that the real F16 stick wouldn't have. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, I'd do this one all day long. I can't see a better stick than this, honestly. And he also has a stick with more programmable buttons and more universality if that's your cup of tea, if you're not super hard for the A10 like I am, or the F16, which I'm not moving on to, but adding to my repertoire, I should say, slowly but surely. Also, Mr. Tianhang makes a force sensing stick base that you can customize the pressures to when he builds it for you. That is akin to RealSim's $2,500 goddamn professional level sim base that I've played with it briefly. I'm gonna do a full review on it later, but like, don't even know this guy exists. Like, you Google this guy's name, his website doesn't even come up. if you YouTube it, I think one of the guy out there's in a stick comparison, and that's it. Like, he's basically unknown. I'm telling you he's legit, and you've got my endorsement, and my two friends have not been scammed. So as far as I can tell, it's legit. What else I got going on? I've vastly changed the cockpit that I fly with, so I'm gonna probably do an update because it's one of my most popular videos, and I get a lot of questions about stuff, and so I mean, that's give the people what they want. And I'm also beta testing a bunch of missions, or will be beta testing a bunch of missions for Combat King, who is the man who works on AgileSphere. He's a friend of mine in real life now, and so I'll be beta testing those missions for him. So I've got some new content coming up there as well. The F16 cockpit that you saw that I'm working on is also coming along nicely, which is why I've got a plethora of F16 sticks as well. Invictus Cockpit Systems is working on a real side stick controller, and so is Mr. Tianhang, and I am watching his career with great interest.
And you, young Skywalker, we will watch your career with great interest.
I gotta remember to put that meme in there. It's a great meme. So, other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching my video. It's been so long, I just wanted to do something, you know. Anyway, God, I love it so much, but just real quick comparison. Fuck yeah, man. Like, this is like the keyboard that came with your mom's Dell computer in 2010 with the silicon dome that you can now get at Walmart for like $5. This is like a gamer keyboard from like 2010, and this is like a modern mechanical keyboard. God, just okay. I'm done. Video over. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I'm gonna fuck if you like or subscribe. See ya. Cheers.